What's up, guys? My name is Ricardo Neva, otherwise known as Cine Rick, and today my post-production guru is going to be asking me a few questions about set, and I will give you the lowdown. Hit le intro. La 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 la. Okay, cool. So, before we jump into the video, as you know, I was shooting a film. It was my honors film. It is a 24-minute film called Strange Kin. It is a dark comedy with some really great, funny bits. The actors are fantastic. I think the technical crew was fantastic. And it is coming out sometime in December or November, whenever AFTA decides to tell us when it's coming out. And set is over now, and so my post-production guru, the amazing Delano, is going to be asking me a few questions so that I can give you the lowdown about what happened. Begins. My overall experience was stressful. Now, it was stressful because I didn't get the opportunity to test shoot a lot of the things that I wanted to try out, and so a lot of the times it was on set me trying to tweak, as well as being on a time crunch, because we obviously have to try and get this film done within a certain amount of days that AFTA has given us. So as a result, here's young Ricardo going around really quickly just trying to fix things and make things work. And luckily for me, I've had 4 years of experience of doing this and having to do quick things on the fly. So it was stressful, but I felt like I was able to cope with it. And I also had a really good team where I couldn't figure it out. They were like, okay, Ricardo, let's figure this out. And they really helped me a lot. So thanks to the team. Cool. What was my impressions of working with the Arri Mini and the WCU4? The Alexa Mini is a wonderful, wonderful camera. I love that camera so much. It has amazing color science. It records beautifully. It has simplicity. The menus are easy to use. Everything about that camera is really great. But my favorite thing about the Alexa Mini, which is my saving grace, is that I actually have shoulder problems. I've got little micro tears in my shoulders. So shoulder rigging the Alexa Classic, which is what I've been doing, takes a really heavy toll on my body. Now with the Alexa Mini, I was able to stay there, do the shots, and I was able to prolong that without having to feel the toll on my body. So the Alexa Mini was fantastic because its lightweightness is such a difference compared to the Alexa Classic that it's a wonderful camera. If I can use the Alexa Mini over the Alexa Classic, I shall. Then the WCU4s, which is what my focus puller was using to pull the focus, hit the record button, do the things. He loves them. He was really happy with them. However, the range was a little bit limiting. We had a few times where the range would just cut out and he was just lost feed and we had to just restart the shot, which isn't what you want because you're wasting time having to restart and reset everything. But other than that, the WCU4 is intuitive. The ability to hit roll, especially when you're on the shoulder rig and I can't get to the button, him being able to roll for me was fantastic. The sending lens data allows me to know what's happening and it just makes the metadata even more fulfilling. And yeah, I love those pieces of gear. Good job after getting them. Give yourself a round of applause. You did the things. Did the things, young man.
What the fuck was you doing?
So I have two favorite days, day 1 and day 3. Day 1 because you get into it. It's a great vibe. Everyone is kind of ready to go, but it's still got that like we're getting into this project. So it's got this like touching the waters, testing out the waters feeling to it. But it was also my favorite day because the scenes we were able to capture looked fantastic. I was really happy with what I was recording, and day 1 was just getting into that mode and starting to see the first images being recorded. It's like, this is gonna turn out fantastic. It's like, you know it, you see it, you're like, it's looking saucy. So much sauce. And then day 3, day 2 was my second favorite day. And that is because we got to rig the Arri onto a paddle mount and run it straight into a car. It didn't go through the car, but it was to give the illusion that it was about to hit someone. It was a POV, and it was just so much fun. My least favorite day was contingency day. It was the day we had set aside in case any mistakes or any polishing need to be done. And it went rain, wrap. As soon as we finished wrapping, rain stopped. And we'd give it 5 minutes, we'd re-rig. And then the rain was like, nah, son, I'm coming back, boy. And then it would rain again and we'd do that process. We did that 4 times. That was my least favorite moment when the rain was playing chicken with me. Rain, if you're watching this,
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
my favorite moment though, jumping on some positivity, some saucy positivity, was when I took the first shot. Taking the first shot is always my favorite moment. It's that moment where you're like, and so it begins. Setup was chill. All of that is chill. Like, things can go wrong during that time. But when you hit that record button, production has started for me. That's like when I'm like in the mode. It's like, I got to start getting these shots. I got to crank out the scene. I got to make it look sauce. And that moment was then accompanied by straight after taking the first shot. And we were like, this is the happy take. Director walks in. He's like, best stuff you've ever shot in your life. And I was like, thanks. Because that's the goal. Every time you shoot something, you want it to be the best. And if it's not, then you're not progressing. So when he walked in and he was like, best stuff you've shot so far, I was like, da-na-na-na. My favorite shot is there's a shot where the mop is going into a bucket and it's a track out to reveal the character. I just love the way that shot develops and starts from a closed frame, very menacing, to a very like, whoa. And I think it's a great way to open a film. Well, not open a film, but open that scene. And I think it was a fantastic shot. My least favorite shot is there's a shot where Lilly comes in and it's her close-up, but she's against this stark white wall. And we didn't have the ability, because we were shooting in someone's house, to really mess with the wall and add various elements. So it looked a little bit plain. We added a few things, but it still felt relatively empty to me. I think the shot in itself is good. It's just the way that the visual elements come together doesn't jive with me too well. My top lesson learned is if your university or production tells you that you're gonna have to black out a house so that you can make it look like nighttime so that you shoot in the day, make sure, one, you get more than the calculated amount of blackout that you need. And two, make sure you have at least 8 people to help you rig that, because I promise you, doing that 4-man is a struggle. Especially when there's a whole lot of shrubbery and overhanging roofs and piping that messes with the flow, and you gotta like figure out how to get the main frame out and then tapestry things together to make it work. Or just shoot at night, like a normal person. Before we continue, just remember that if you haven't subscribed, why haven't you done that? Just click the link, subscribe, and stay tuned to all the Cine goodness. Yeah. My favorite meal was the lasagna. Whoo, 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 whoo. Ore, I need you to understand that I appreciate you for the food that you brought onto set. I love your face. That catering company you found was amazing. The people who made the food, thank you so much. I was a happy chappy. The lasagna was so good. My one tip that I learned, and it's constantly something that I'm having to practice, is communication. You might be the expert in your field, but if you can't communicate, or if you might have a vision in your head, but if you can't communicate it, one of two things is going to happen. Either it's not going to execute properly and you're wasting time trying to get your idea out there, or two, because you don't communicate, it feels like you build a wall and then people can't get to you to do their jobs, or you can't get to them to do your job because the communication is broken down. And I did experience it from the set, because I struggle to communicate when I get stressed, and I have to practice that. So just remember that communication is the most important thing, especially in film when it's a collaborative effort. Like, stress may hit, but then just communicate that, listen guys, I'm having a bit of a stressful moment right now. I'm trying to figure something out. Can you guys give me 15 minutes and then come back to me? Just that you can be stressed, because that's what I started doing after my producer came to me and had a nice talk with me and just gave me a tip, which I appreciate. It's always good when people care about you and they're like, let me give you some advice. Take that advice and use it. And she was just like, hey, when you get into those modes, because I understand that you're trying to figure something out, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders, just tell people that you need that time. And that's what I did. And after that, I felt like communication opened up. The whole thing was a lot more fluid. I miss the Airy. I miss the Airy a lot. But I also miss waking up with Cine Crew and going out, having your cup of coffee because we'd wake up 15 minutes before, sitting down, just talking about how the day's gonna go, just talking jokes, and then starting to work. And it's a short man crew. We had 4 people, myself, my first AC, and 2, my key grip, and then a grip and gaffer, G&E. And when you have that small crew, you're so reliant on each other that you form a family, and you're always putting yourself into these positions where you're trying to work hard and get the best work so that everyone else in that crew knows that you are doing something fantastic. Like, we got battle scars, cuts on our hands, chafing, all of the jazzes. But at the end of the day, we were able to always sit down, go to the gear storage area where we called stores, sit down there, and just talk. And I miss them so much. I miss that crew so much. They were fantastic. And I have to give a huge shout out to Letabo, Etienne, Jonathan, because you guys were the best Cine team I could have asked for. Oh, and Delano, because he was second AC/AD, but he was mostly AD. But he was still there, doing the things. Helped dolly grip like a mother trucker. If you ever need someone to run quick and run fast, call Delano.
Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed.
But yes, if you're excited to see a dark comedy about some strange family members, be ready to check it out because it's going to come soon. And I'm so excited to share with you guys. Yeah. That's the end of the video. Remember, if you want to keep posted with all the Cine Rick goodness, remember to check us out on all of our social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and obviously here on the YouTubes by subscribing. So, without further ado, remember to like, share, subscribe, all the funky, funny stuff, and I shall see you on the next one. I love your faces. Goodbye.